Hi everyone. So I appreciate you all being so flexible with me not being here today. Um, what you're doing today is you're going to fill out this final exam last minute review sheet with me. And then if you owe work, you're going to work on that. And if you do not owe work, I have a packet for you to work on. Remember, your final exam is on Thursday in class. So if you need extra review or would like to study for it, I'm after school today and tomorrow, so you can stay after with me. I also recommend you studying those final exam review packets that we've been doing with all the topics on it. That's the best way for you to study for your final. And remember, your final exam, you cannot do test corrections on that. So what you get is what you get. All right, first we're going to look at some formulas that you need to know for your final exam. So if something says find the sum of two different things, they're asking you to add. So remember, sum means add, and we've seen that a lot when it says find the sum of two polynomials. Product means multiply. So if it says find the product between these two polynomials, they're just simply asking you to multiply them. And remember, we learned a few different methods for multiplying polynomials. Remember, if it's anything like this, so binomial times a binomial, we use the box method. And even if it's a trinomial, so three terms by two terms, you would still do the box. It's just be a bigger box. All right. Standard form of a polynomial simply means that the degrees or the exponents start from the biggest number down to the smallest number. So something like this. So your exponents start from your biggest number down to your smallest number. Okay? Interquartile range. We've talked about interquartile range quite a bit, but interquartile range simply means you take your quartiles, so Q3, and subtract them, so minus Q1. And we find the quartiles, Q3 and Q1, using our calculator. Remember, we put all of our data in to a listen spreadsheet, and then we do menu, statistics, and we do all that. Okay? So again, sum means to add, product means to multiply. Standard form simply means writing a polynomial from the biggest exponent down to the smallest exponent. And your interquartile range simply means take your quartiles, Q3 minus Q1, and subtract them. The next thing you need to know is the slope-intercept equation, and that's just the equation of a line, which is y equals mx plus b. Okay? Where your b is your y-intercept, your m is your slope or your average rate of change. And we're going to go over in a second what that is. Okay? So slope or average rate of change, remember the same thing, is simply your change in your y's over your change in your x. So you subtract your y values over you subtract your x values. All right, and the last term that we're going to go over in these boxes is box plot. So if you guys remember, a box plot looks a little something like this. Okay? Where this is your minimum, this is quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and your maximum. And those are the 5 things or the 5-number summary that we need when creating a box plot. And when you actually create a box plot, you need to write those 5 things out. So it's our minimum, our Q1, our median, Q3. I fix that. That kind of looks like a 6. So Q3, our max. You need to actually write those numbers out when graphing a box plot. Okay? And the last thing you need to know about box plots is we talked about this before. Your box plot is broken up into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And each of those parts are worth 25%. Right? So this is 25%. That's 25% of the data. This is 25% of the data. And there's 25% of the data. All right, let's move on to some vocabulary terms that you need to know. So we need to know what rational versus irrational means. So a rational number is a number that ends or repeats. And what we mean by repeat is that the number 4.333333333 is rational because that 3 keeps repeating. An irrational number is a number that does not end or repeat. That does not end or repeat. Okay, so something like 4.27659.321. Dot, dot, dot. That number is irrational because it has no pattern to it and it keeps going on in that way. The degree is the highest or biggest exponent in a polynomial. Okay, so the biggest exponent in a polynomial is your degree. And your constant is a number with no variable. So something like this, 3x squared plus 1, or sorry, we'll do 4x minus 5. So here, 3 is our leading coefficient. 2 is our degree, because that's the biggest exponent. And negative 5 is our constant, because that has no letter with it. Oops. Here we go, our constant. All right. We have some vocabulary here related to statistics, mean, median, mode, range, and outlier. You remember your mean is your average, and that can be found in your calculator using the X with the line over it. So we put our data into a list in the spreadsheet. We run, the statistics, all of that, and we look for the number that's next to the X with the line over it. Your median can also be found in your calculator. So I'm just going to write median because your calculator actually says out median equals this number. Your mode, your calculator does not tell you your mode, but your mode is the number that occurs the most. And I'm going to write calc doesn't have. So the calculator does not tell you your mode. You have to be able to look at a list of data and say, okay, this number occurs the most. That's the mode. Your range is your biggest number in a data set minus your smallest number in a data set. And an outlier is like an outcast or an extreme value. So one that is just not like the other. And we talked about how in class you guys are all about the same age. And if Mr. Freeze came in and joined the class, he would be an outlier because he is much older than all of you. So he's an extreme value, something that's not like the others. And I think that's the last vocabulary word that I put on your list. It is. So these are not all the vocabulary we need to know for your final, but there's some important words here. So again, my way and my recommendation for you for studying for your final exam would be to look over those packets that we've been doing in class, doing those questions again, looking over these vocabulary words and the formulas, and staying after school if you would like some extra review time. So I'm going to go through some helpful hints here, and then you are all set. So helpful hint number 1, please read each question carefully to see what the question is asking you to find. So the questions often have more than one part. You must answer all the questions in a sentence. So remember, we talked about you can't simply say X equals 2. You need to actually say there are 2 dogs at the shelter. You have to answer it as if somebody doesn't know math. Reread every question after you finished making sure you answered everything that was asked, okay? Make sure you're showing all your work in a neat and organized manner. So if you showed me all your work, I'm able to give you partial credit if you get something wrong. If you do not show me all your work, there's nothing I can really do for you if you got the question wrong. Again, state your answer in a complete sentence and use the appropriate units if required. And the last helpful hint is to answer every single question. So you guys do get partial credit, even if you don't get the correct answer, if you show me your work. And I can follow and say, okay, I know where so-and-so did, made a mistake. Try your best for every question and always use your calculator. Your calculator is your best friend. So I think that's all I have for you. Yep, that's all I have for you for today. So what you're going to do now is you are going to, again, do old work, if you have that. If you do not have any old work, I have a packet for you to do with some great review questions. At 10:30 on Google Classroom, the answer key to that packet will be posted. So at 10:30, I want you to stop what you are doing, go onto Google Classroom and check your answers. However, if I have a report that says you sat there until 10:30 waiting for the answers to be posted, I will not give you credit for the assignment. So do as much as you can do on your own, and then when the answers are posted, go check your answers to see how well you've been doing. Okay? All right, behave and have a great day.